Welcome back. Today I want to provide an update on Nano Dimension, also known as NNDM. I put out a video on this stock over a month ago, and a lot has happened since then. In that video, I announced my price target prediction of $15 per share, with NNDM well under $7 at that point. As it stands currently, Nano Dimension is sitting at $10.38 per share. So, in this video, I want to talk about what ARK Invest is doing with their holdings in this company, discuss the news we've gotten over the last few weeks, and go over my long-term thesis for this stock. Let's start with the news. Number 1. On December 27th, Nano Dimension inked an agreement with investors for the sale of $250 million in stock. They said the net proceeds will be used for working capital and for other general corporate purposes. And that closed on December 30th, coming after a previous direct offering of $180 million earlier in the month. Number 2. Nano Dimension sold a Dragonfly LDM system for additive manufacturing of high-performance electronic devices to an Academy of Engineering Physics in the Pacific Rim. The Dragonfly LDM system is the only technology in the world that uses digital files and 3D simultaneous printing of conductive materials to rapidly produce high-performance multi-layered electronic parts. Quote, as COVID-19 vaccines become widely available in 2021 and pandemic-related restrictions are lifted, we are confident that the commercialization of our technology will be accelerated, said Yoav Stern, CEO and president of Nano Dimension. And number 3. On January 14th, Nano Dimension inked yet another agreement with investors for a registered direct offering with gross proceeds of $333 million. Again, proceeds will be used for working capital and other general corporate purposes. The closing date this time is January 19th. Shares of NNDM fell about 10% off of all-time highs on the news of this most recent offering, since this is the third major direct offering in such a short amount of time. But I can't blame the company's management for wanting to cash out on the performance of the stock to bring that money back to reinvest in R&D and general corporate purposes as they mentioned. Overall, I don't think raising money is a negative or a positive for this business. It's just something they're doing to strengthen the balance sheet. So, in my opinion, when you see the stock drop off with one of these announcements, it's worth considering whether you should buy the dip. Alright, now let's look at what ARK Invest has been doing. So here we are looking at the combined holdings of Nano Dimensions and NNDM. This is updated daily. This is from kathysark.com. And here we are in the fall of last year when Nano Dimensions was first picked up by ARK, then gradually getting added to over time, a big jump there. That's when many people heard about the stock. It's when I heard about it at around $3 per share, and they've been adding to it ever since. And when the stock fell off from almost $6 a share, ARK jumped in with another million or so shares purchased, and they've been adding just over time. Every time that line increases, the purple one, that's when they're adding shares. They've added an enormous amount of shares, even as the stock keeps climbing. And what that tells me is that since they are buying, even when the stock has increased so much, their conviction is well beyond this current point, this current market cap, and where the stock is currently trading. So they're willing to pay whatever the price to get access to this company. And if we scroll down to the trades of NNDM made in all funds, we'll see they're buying, and most recently they've added it to ARKW. And the key statistics, yes, it's in ARKW and ARKQ. The last price they bought, I think that's what it means, is $9.29. It's a weighting of 0.25%. Market cap is a little over $1 billion, $1.3 billion. It's ranked 86th in all of ARK's funds, and the price to sales is pretty high there, but that is to be expected with an innovative growth company. ARK ownership percentage is 7%, which is pretty high. Here we are on Lucid tracking. This is the shares held by ARK's ETFs, and the aggregate is in pink, and you won't be able to see the blue, but the blue is actually ARKQ, so the aggregate overlapped with ARKQ for the longest time because they only had NNDM in ARKQ, and you'll see they added over time. We already saw this kind of chart, but you'll see most recently that big spike for the aggregate number of shares comes from them adding NNDM to their ARKW fund, which is what has pushed their total share count way above where it is for ARKQ. So I find it very interesting that they, in the last few weeks, have chosen to add Nano Dimensions into another one of their funds, despite it being at all-time high prices and already being a large part of their ARK ARKQ fund. They decided we're going to add it to another. We're going to add it to ARKW. I'll talk about what that means in just a little bit. Daily buy and sell, just adding over time. They are not selling. They are just building their position. Really shows how convicted they are with this company. So here's ARKW right here, next generation internet. So very interesting that they've chosen to include NNDM here. They say ARKW offers exposure to the next generation internet, including artificial intelligence, big data, cloud computing, cybersecurity, and blockchain technology. So let me just go ahead and check and make sure they are actually holding NNDM. And yep, you'll see number 53 in ARKW is actually NNDM. So again, I find it very interesting that they're choosing to include NNDM in pretty much a category that it doesn't entirely align with. But if we go back to ARKQ, the main one here offers exposure to autonomous vehicles, energy storage, robotics, autonomy, and automation, 3D printing, and space exploration. Alright, so keep that space exploration piece in mind in just a second, because I want to reference that. So finally, I'm going to talk briefly about where I see this company heading. I think ARK Invest, especially with the influence they have today, can give all of us a very good idea of where the stock will be heading in the medium to long term, given how they feel and if they are buying, which they certainly are. Their confidence is what allowed me to predict a 50% increase from $7 to where the stock is now. Of course, ARK isn't always going to be right, but in the long run, I have confidence that they will be continually proved extraordinarily correct. Therefore, if ARK keeps adding at these higher prices and introduces NNDM into their other funds, then I think this stock could keep pushing higher as this company goes well beyond its market cap of a little over $1 billion today. For instance, a subscriber left a comment that NNDM could be a prime candidate for ARK's upcoming space ETF, and this is a great point, because you might not initially agree, but if you recall that ARKX is defined in the SEC filing to contain companies, quote, leading, enabling, or benefiting from technologically enabled products and or services that occur beyond the surface of the earth, end quote. That includes companies in 4 categories according to ARK. Quote, orbital aerospace, suborbital aerospace, enabling technologies, and aerospace beneficiary. So I really think that NNDM would fall into the enabling technologies part of things. And remember, I told you to hold that space exploration from ARKQ piece in the back of your mind, and I think that's what's coming into play here. I would predict that barring any negative change from the core business of NNDM, we could certainly see it added to ARKX portfolio coming up because of how space exploration will be broken off from ARKQ, and I think we could definitely see NNDM being focused on the innovative part of space, bringing their technology over to that arena. For now, I'll keep my medium-term price target of $15, and I'll be looking out for any news that will allow me to get a better sense of the picture of this company many years out, so that I can make a target around that. Ultimately, I still think this stock is a risky yet worthwhile bet on the future of innovation, specifically in the 3D printing space. I'm very happy for all shareholders out there that have been able to ride the stock all the way from under $5 to over $10 in just the last few months. Leave your price target predictions in the comments below. What's your short-term target and long-term goal? And hit like if this quick update was insightful for you. Until next time.